Friends, the day we've been waiting for has finally arrived and we have a new Assassin's Creed. Well, the official release date of the video game is actually on the 20th of March. But the title already has early access for the deluxe versions and all that. And we who were able to access the game early can already talk at length about the title. So in today's video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know before you spend a penny on this game. I'm going to tell you the good, I'm going to tell you the bad, I'm going to tell you the ugly, and I'm going to explain what the game is about in general terms. In Assassin's Creed Giados, we have a story of revenge and mysteries, a story led by two characters. The first one is Naui, a super fast and stealthy shinobi ninja, and the second is Yasuke, a heavy samurai tank of hard and blunt hits. From the beginning, Ubisoft told us that in this video game we would have two protagonists and that we could advance the title with both protagonists. And perhaps we thought there would be a story divided into two, telling two sides of the same coin or two parts of the same story or something like that. The thing is, it's not quite like that. In fact, and I'm going to talk about this a bit later, well, you can play the game with one of the two characters and completely forget about the other if you prefer one type of gameplay over the other. The revenge story that Assassin's Creed Shadows tells us, without spoiling too much, is a story where our main character, who would be Naui, has to take revenge on a group of warriors who did something very bad to him. And he's going to hunt these warriors all over Japan until he finds them and kills them. We are in Japan in the year 1500, in the midst of a war conflict. And this Assassin's Creed would historically be the first, the oldest. To review this video game, I'm going to use only gameplay from the first 12 or 15 hours of the title. This way, I avoid spoiling the entire map, the skill tree, armors, and things that will appear later on. The title is divided into 3 acts, with an additional epilogue-like act at the end. And as the acts progress, things about the story and so on are revealed that I'm going to avoid telling to not ruin the experience for you. So, we're going to use, I would almost say, the first half of the first chapter only to make this video, which is more than enough for us to explain the title. As I was saying, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a story of revenge, one in which we will have to hunt down a series of sinister characters, who form a kind of team of soldiers, warriors, and other things. To organize our hunt and our progress, Ubisoft proposes this kind of board, on which we will find the targets we have already eliminated and the targets we need to eliminate in order to advance in the story. This view you're seeing right now of the main targets, as I was saying, is only from the beginning of the game. The different main targets, which are the ones here in the middle, they all have a hidden identity. To find out their identity, we have to do a series of previous missions. The curious thing is that to do these missions, many times the game is not going to tell us exactly where we have to go. Instead, it will give us a series of clues with which we have to find out on the map where is our destination. For example, we now know that our destination is in the Omi region, which is also in Asuchi Castle. So we assume it will be around here and that our destination is at Hideyoshi's residence. We have no idea where it will be, but we estimate it's going to be around here. So we sent one of our scouts and assigned him to the region. If we're right, our target will appear. And if not, we've wasted a scout for nothing. I'll explain this scout thing in more depth a bit later. The game map is quite extensive and is divided into regions, and each of the regions clearly tells us what level we need to be able to overcome the challenges we'll find there. When we open a region or when we push the R lever forward, we find that the icons for the different objectives and missions we have start to appear. And with a third zoom, we have more detail of what the world is like and how it's organized. The regions of the map that are revealed are all those regions through which I traveled on foot or by horse. And the regions that are dark and only show little drawings of what would be below, well, these are regions of the map that we haven't discovered yet, but that have some important place or another that is already marked in advance, so we know where to look. Regarding the combat style, we have 2 different combat styles because we have 2 characters. We have a light one and a heavy one. And we start with the light one, which is Naoe is a fast assassin ninja shinobi who does good parries and executes combos as well as very fast. Personally, the gameplay style with Naoe is the one I like the most because it's the one that excites me the most. At times, it even reminded me of certain combos or certain things I did in Arkham Knight and those Batman games. Because often you're standing in the middle of several enemies dealing, dodging, blocking, and so on, and it's quite fun. In addition to having a dynamic combat style, Naoe is the one who does parkour, who behaves like a kind of true assassin, who can climb walls, who can scale tall structures, or even stalk from the heights or from the shadows. As for weapons and customization, Naoe can carry two main weapons. One of which can be a katana that we can find, improve, and so on as we progress in the game. It can be a kusarigama, which is like a kind of hook with a stone or something like that. And it can be a tanto, which is a small sword that is like for assassinating. You will choose a main weapon and a secondary weapon, and with that, you will manage. You will also have a horse, a head accessory, and a set of armors. Which, by the way, the armor sets are some of the most beautiful things I've seen in this game. You can dismantle them, you can sell them, and so on. Additionally, you can equip a trinket, which is a kind of accessory, and of course tools. I won't delve into this because you'll get to discover it as you play. The second combat style you'll have available is Yasuke's combat style, which is much heavier and in fact can withstand many more hits. Because it has a more extensive health bar. Or at least that would be the impression it gives. Sasuke is a samurai, and like a good samurai, he fights with a sword. And well, he also has other little things to use that we will be reviewing, but he mainly fights with a sword. Both characters, both Yasuke and Naoe, also have a series of special moves and abilities. I won't go into detail as the joy is in discovering it yourself. I don't want to spoil the game for you. But know that the fighting styles of these two characters are very distinct. Naoe is agile, stealthy, and swift in assassinations and combat, while Sasuke is the opposite, lacking in stealth, speed, and assassination skills. He's a large tank-like brute fighter. Regarding Yasuke's weapon set, we have the sword, as a good samurai should. We also have a bow, because we can also attack from a distance with this character. And we have a teppo. Or I don't know how to pronounce it, it's a weapon, a firearm. Then, exactly the same as with Naoe. We can equip a head accessory, we can equip armor. The designs of the armors are very beautiful, and we will also have the possibility to equip an accessory and some tools. Regarding the skill tree of these two characters, all the points you have to distribute from experience are worth the same for both. That is, if you earn an experience point with Naoe doing missions or something like that, it also counts for Jask. And if you earn it with Jask, it also counts for Naoe. You will be unlocking different masteries and different skills to improve your character. You can play 90% of the game calmly with a single character without needing to change, because the game allows you to do so. In fact, there are very few missions that tell you that you definitely have to play with this or that character. I mainly played the entire game with Naoe because he was the character I liked the most. And I eventually used Yasuke when suddenly the game asked me to use him. With the dialogues, it's the same. There are times when they ask you to respond something, and you can respond as either Naoe or Yasuke. I don't think it has a real impact on the story. Most of the dialogues we take. Let's talk about the gameplay mechanics, those things that make Assassin's Creed Shadows unique. And let's start by talking about the vision. I don't actually know what this mechanic is called, but I call it the vision. So that's what we're going to call it. The thing is, if you hold down L2 on PlayStation, Naoe or Yasuke will sharpen their vision and will be able to discern where the enemies are in the environment. And in this way, if you roughly mark them before doing a mission, you will be able to know where they all are, even when you release the trigger. This is useful for locating enemies quickly when you're in the middle of combat. This vision will also help you identify targets that may not be in plain sight and are behind walls or things like that. Naho should have been an Olympic swimming athlete because she swims too fast. In addition to the mechanics of seeing through objects with 52, we also have a super hearing mechanic, which we can activate by pressing R3. In this way, we enter a mode in which we will move much slower than usual. But will we be fine-tuning our hearing to detect enemies that we might not have been seeing? On the map, you'll find multiple areas to investigate and loot, and to gather materials and other things that you'll use to upgrade your weapons and also to build your base. Another very particular mechanic is, as I was telling you a while ago, that of the scouts. These are people we can send anywhere on the map to explore for us and tell us what's there. For example, we send them with the square and then assign them. If there is any element related to our mission in this region, it would let us see it. The uses of these scouts are spent and renewed each time the cycle of seasons ends, because we have winter, spring, fall, summer seasons and all that. These scouts will be ordinary people that we will find and recruit as we do missions. Our base, which also has a place and weight within the story. It will be where we always return to improve our teams and also to interact with the different characters that we have recruited. Right now there may be few characters. Look, there's Yasuke. What are you doing, dude? Ha ha ha, what's up, dog? I made a sword blunder. But as we progress in the story, this place will be filled with characters. And also, well, it will be filled with buildings as we improve it. We have a small construction map where we can add, remove, or modify structures, and these different structures will give us different possibilities within the game, like improving weapons, recruiting people, and other details I won't spoil to avoid ruining the game. For example, the more we improve the forge, the more upgrades we can make to our weapons. But to improve or build the forge, we need resources that we will be getting throughout our adventure. By the way, the whole thing about upgrading weapons and such doesn't make much sense at first, because you always get better weapons and better equipment. But well, if you suddenly find yourself in a mission that you can't get through because your equipment is too tight, maybe upgrading it is an option. We also have watchtowers that we need to discover and visit, and once we have liberated them, we can use them for fast travel. In fact, it's recommended that you take the time to visit a few watchtowers to set fast travel points, investigate the environment, and discover bases, missions, and enemies. Because it's going to make the game a lot easier for you. The station's mechanic involves continuous cycling and passing, as I mentioned earlier. And they give different graphic styles to the environment, and they show us the different climates that Japan goes through. What I like the most about Assassin's Creed Shadows are the graphics. The game looks spectacular. Everything looks nice. The cities, the wild world, the mountains, the trees, everything is very well done, and the change of seasons makes it look beautiful all the time. And also, graphically, I think it's one of the most polished games that Ubisoft has delivered regarding an Assassin's Creed in a long time. In about 50 hours of gameplay, I haven't had a single bug that ruins my experience. I have had the occasional time where maybe I got stuck against the wall, or maybe I fell in a place where I shouldn't have fallen. But nothing out of the ordinary. I think it's the most polished game that has come out. And that's considering I played an early version before any kind of patch. What I liked least about the game, well, it's quite a bit. But here I think we have to make a very big distinction between two types of people. The people. Or the players who like the Assassin's Creed formula, or the formula that this video game has been bringing for the last few years. They are going to love this game because it's more of the same. Is it going to that? This Assassin's Creed game follows the formula of recent entries like Valhalla and Odyssey. If you enjoyed those, you'll likely enjoy this one too. If you are one of those people who, like me, are a bit bored with this game mechanic, of having to level up all the time to be able to progress, then this game is probably not for you. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, I'm saying it's a classic Assassin's Creed of recent times with all that entails. I didn't like the story. I wasn't interested. There wasn't a moment when I said, wow, how intriguing, I'm dying to know. It just happened, and that's it. And it's not bad, but it's also not noteworthy. At times, I felt there was too much soap opera, and at times I wasn't interested in the characters' problems. Yes, I liked how the backstory of our characters is told, through flashbacks and things I'm not going to spoil for you. Overall, the story failed to grab my interest. If you enjoyed the latest Assassin's Creed and its formula, you'll have fun with this game as it follows a similar style. 50, 60, 70 hours of leveling up and getting good little weapons to face the bosses and the enemies that follow. If you're more of an Elden Ring player, to put it in some way, it doesn't matter to you. You say when I see someone I want to face, I will do it regardless of my level, where I am, or what happens. Well, this game is not for you because this game slows you down and asks you to level up. There comes a very early moment in the game, at about 6 hours. More or less that yes or yes, you have to start doing side missions. And missions that range from praying to a stick to meeting an old man, and things that you might care little to nothing about. But you have to do them to get mastery tokens, to improve your skills. Because if not, there's no chance you can kill the enemies. Because they level up, they don't increase in difficulty, they level up. It's a game that follows the classic Assassin's Creed format of the recent entries, which is the main appeal. If what worried you was that the game would fail or not be finished, it's very much finished, it's very polished, it works well, the load times are very decent. Graphically, it's spectacular. The gameplay shown is on PS5 Pro, but it looks very good on PS5 and Xbox Series. I haven't played or seen it on PC, and none of my colleagues have tried it either. We'll need to investigate further. The unreleased game has impressive technical aspects that work well, and the art design is spectacular. I don't know how faithful they were to the history of Japan and those things, because I have no idea, but it's decent. If you're in the middle of those two profiles, of whether it is a game for you and it's not a game for you, you're uncertain about making a decision, my recommendation would be Ubisoft Plus Premium. You pay for the Ubisoft Plus service, which is worth $17, I believe. And it comes with the game and you play it, and in a month you probably finish it if you play more or less often. And then when it's on sale, you can buy it and that's it. And if it wasn't for you because you didn't like it, well, didn't you save yourself $60, $70 and you were able to try it? Ubisoft's subscription service is available on Xbox and PC, but not on PlayStation. All the games are there from day one, very complete, with early access and so on. It's a great way to try out Ubi's new games. If you're not sure if it's for you, well, I hope this review has helped you to find out how to play the game and whether you like it or not. Share your experiences or opinions about trying this out in the comments below. And if you like video games, subscribe to this channel. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.